in a down market. Nobody was making much, but not everyone had adrenochrome. It says, it seemed to cut my learning curve. I was jacked in, booted up. At the end of the week, my brokerage account was worth over $2 million.
What's up, guys? Boy Benny. What the hell does corporate media know? They always get it wrong, but even a broken clock is right twice a day. And last week, Bloomberg was out with reporting that Vivek Ramaswamy was off Donald Trump's vice presidential list, more like a cabinet position for Vivek. But somebody very notable was on that list. That somebody was a Democrat. Not the first time that we've heard Tulsi Gabbard's name sort of feted out there as a potential VP pick for Donald Trump. The reporting on it looked like this.
Reporting, the former president has told Vivek Ramaswamy he will not tap him for that particular job, though he is reportedly in contention for DHS secretary. Bloomberg says Kevin McCarthy is in the running for chief of staff. No word on whether he wants that job. And for attorney general, Senators Mike Lee and Ted Cruz. Tim Scott, Congressman Byron Donalds, Governor Kristi Noem, and Tulsi Gabbard continues to be on that list.
Tulsi Gabbard on the list. This isn't the first time, in fact, that Tulsi Gabbard has been mentioned as a potential Trump VP pick. Trump was live on Fox when Tulsi was mentioned and the crowd went wild.
Been asked who they think would be a good choice, and various names came up. One of them was, of course, Vivek Ramaswamy. Yeah. He's made a big splash. Ron DeSantis, who's making an appearance today in South Carolina, we just found out. Obviously, Tim Scott, Byron Donalds, and a big presence here for Tulsi Gabbard. Very interesting. And Kristi Noem as well, I should.
So the crowd is clapping for Tulsi. This, no doubt, inspired Tucker Carlson, who had Tulsi on his show with regularity on Fox, to interview Tulsi in his news studio for his new network, the Tucker Carlson Network, saying that Tulsi Gabbard could be the next vice president. Here's what she believes. This is the way that Tucker framed it. Now, that's very interesting from somebody who many speculated could be Donald Trump's vice president. We'll see, I suppose, ladies and gentlemen. The interview is quite fascinating. We encourage you, of course, to go over to Tucker's channel and watch it. But there is one clip that is going particularly viral, and that is a clip of Tucker Carlson and Tulsi talking about her old boss, so to speak, because she was a member of the House. Nancy Pelosi was her boss, and talking about Nancy Pelosi insider trading. If anybody knows anything about this, it would be Tulsi Gabbard, and this conversation is fascinating.
I'm always amazed by the financial disclosures. And again, since this is the last question, but since no one else talks about it, I will. And you see these members of Congress who are, in some cases they're clever, maybe even smart. In some cases they're just pretty ordinary, actually. And they're so rich relative to the mean.
Oh, yeah.
Does anyone, and I have no idea how they made all that money. I have no clue at all how Nancy Pelosi is just so rich, or how her stock picks are like way better than Warren Buffett's. Like, how does that happen? Yeah. But, does anyone ever talk about that internally, like on the Hill?
No, because most of them benefit from it. I love these like accounts on X and on Instagram that pop up now that are actually tracking. Yeah. And I don't know how they do it. I really don't know how they figure it out, but they are tracking what she's buying and what other members of Congress are buying.
Nancy Pelosi's stock tracker?
Oh, yeah. That's definitely one of them.
It's incredible.
But they're like, hey, everybody pay it. It is. It's incredible to see. And when you watch that, and I'm so glad for the transparency that they're providing to people, in real time almost, but it's no wonder why she and others, Democrats and Republicans, who could very easily pass the legislation that says no member of Congress or the Senate or their spouse or their senior staff should be allowed to trade in stocks, period, full stop. It's such an obvious way to stop even the perception, if you want to claim like innocence or whatever. There should be no perception that our elected leaders are profiting off of the knowledge that they have as policymakers that directly impact industry and businesses. That's a no-brainer to me. I introduced legislation when I was in Congress to do that. Many people have since then. There's been a lot of talk and conversation. Why hasn't it gone anywhere? That's why, because they profit off it. So they don't, of course they don't want to talk about.
But that's just an easy one.
It is. And frankly, like, why do they need to be forced? When I'm not some kind of stock trader, but when I was like 23 and 24, I had like $5,000 in my savings account. I was like, okay, cool. Let me learn a little bit about stocks. I put some money in some stocks, and I don't remember how they did, but I knew immediately, like going into Congress, perception is reality.
Yes.
And so it doesn't matter, like, well, I've had this stock for 15 years or whatever. It doesn't even matter what it is. I got rid of, I did not participate in anything related to stocks or stock trading or buying or selling or anything for the entire time that I was in Congress. And it's not some like, oh, look at me, I'm so great. It's just common sense that we have people in great positions of power. Why should they be forced to do something with the passage of a law? Why don't they just do the right thing and say, you know what? We get that even an innocent thing could be perceived as insider trading. We're just not going to go there.
Because it's too lucrative to give up.
And they know they can get away with it.
Yeah, that's right. When will they stop getting away with it? When will the outrage and the amount of profit that's being made off the backs of taxpayers, when will we ever say enough and demand this? Demand that it stop. This is Nancy Pelosi's stock trader that they were talking about. Talks about her year-to-date earnings, 45%, 31%, 13%. Year-to-date, Amazon, Nancy Pelosi's portfolio is up. Wow, and growing. Look at these returns. Trade like a pro. Just follow Nancy Pelosi's stock trader. Nancy Pelosi's 2023 trading gains top 65% boosted by stock options. Wow, look at that. She's doing better than the hedge fund managers and the people who've been trading on Wall Street all year. The 83-year-old former House Speaker, remains Democratic Congresswoman representing San Francisco, racked up 65% return on her stock portfolio in 2023, more than double the S&P 500's 24% gain. Oh my. Pelosi wasn't alone. Other options-happy members of Congress include Mark Green, who logged a return of more than 122%, and Josh Gottheimer, who was up more than 25%. Unlike buying individual stocks, options allow for leverage, which means more exposure to stock and greater reward if the bet is right, meaning that Nancy Pelosi is able to insider trade, right, with her husband, and they are able to know what's going to happen in the stock market because they passed the legislation that will affect the stock market, and then they're able to maximize on that legislation. An X account known as Congressional Trading published a screenshot of disclosure that showed that Pelosi bought 50 call options at a strike price of $120, expiration date of December 2024. The transaction, made last month, was a $2 million disclosure. And of course, Pelosi bet millions on a chip company that she was passing legislation that was going to give billions of dollars to. So, like, how should that even remotely be legal? She's using our money to inflate stocks that she owns. It can't last forever, ladies and gentlemen. It's so evil. It's so corrupt. Mr. Beast is right. Members of Congress should be banned from trading stocks. Mr. Beast posted and then deleted, sadly, a reaction to Nancy Pelosi's insider stock trading. It's a little sad that an active member of Congress can cause billions of dollars of stock to shift like this. It's also absurd that people that make our laws and know classified information can trade on the public market. The fact that they get intel before the rest of America is constantly tempted to make millions off it is just a situation we shouldn't be putting them in, and it seems stupid to me. I'd be all for paying them more and them not being able to invest or some other solution. Mr. Beast posted that and then deleted it, sadly, because, well, the talent agency that manages Mr. Beast, yes, you guessed it, has a Pelosi working there. Nancy Pelosi's nephew, I think? Yeah. Guess where Nancy Pelosi's nephew, Andrew Pelosi, works as a manager. Mr. Beast's talent agency. Night. Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, that's just a shame, ladies and gentlemen, because Nancy Pelosi deserves to be exposed, obviously, as the fraud that she is. Nancy Pelosi's son, Paul Pelosi, dodges federal charges for the 7th time after being linked to money laundering and mail fraud scheme involving San Francisco Flophouse. Isn't that amazing? How the criminal activity just continues to roll through these families. Just like the Bidens. These people are such unbelievable, repulsive derelicts. It's interesting to listen to the Wolf of Wall Street talk about Nancy Pelosi's trading record. If anybody would know how the illegality of these things happen, it would be him. And, well, guess what he says? Here you go.
It appears that members of Congress consistently beat the S&P 500 in their personal investments.
Nancy Pelosi.
And a lot of others.
Right.
And Pelosi especially.
She's the famous one. Yeah.
Yeah. So how does that, is Nancy Pelosi, do you think, a stock-picking genius?
No, she has to be operating on information that's non-public, or is it not?
Wouldn't that make her a criminal?
Yeah, but look at Joe Biden right now. I mean, look what's going on right now. Like this. Listen,
do you think he's a good stock picker?
Joe Biden? No, I think he's great at laundering money, though.
Yeah,
I mean, honestly,
apparently.
From what I've seen right now, I don't get it. Like, just imagine if it was Trump who was president.
Yeah.
Well, every single day on the front page of the New York Times, the Washington Post, and every other publication would be like $40,000 check for $20,000 check from his brother. Like, it'd be game over. Cries for impeachment.
Oh, yeah.
It'd be like the world falling down. He's in China's pocket. But it's like we're living in an alternative universe right now where people in power, especially on the left, right, can operate almost with impunity. And Pelosi's a perfect example. She's not the only one, but it's inconceivable that someone could have that high return in the market when everyone else can't do it. So what's the edge? The edge is she knows key legislation. And also, maybe someone's whispering in her ear, okay, because, they want to be on her good side, right? So it's hard to prove.
But it's just prima facie, though. So if what you're saying is true, and that is that the most sophisticated people in the world can't beat the S&P average,
right,
then any member of Congress, and I think they are on average dumber than the population,
especially the career politicians,
for sure.
Yeah,
there's no possibility they could do that with that inside information.
No, it's not possible. But again, so how do you go proving that, right? They have to issue subpoenas. And listen, I think that in this case, the solution is they shouldn't be allowed to trade these people.